Hello, and welcome to Apple Blossom and You. I'm your host, Sarah, known as Apple Blossom SF on Instagram and Ravelry.
And I'm your co-host, Matt, known as Navy1990 on Ravelry and M. Franklin1990 on Instagram.
We're so glad that you decided to join us today, our friends.
Welcome back.
And if you're watching for the first time, we're excited that you're checking us out, and we hope that you enjoy it.
Welcome.
All right.
Glad you're here.
We are. We love our viewers.
Yes.
You are like friends to us. But
Yes,
let's jump right into Around the Apple Orchard.
This week was pretty easy. We didn't do much. A lot of tired evenings. Work was pretty easy for me. What did we do this week? Anything?
No, not really.
No.
The weather is starting to change, and it's going from, you can feel it changing between, it's not quite summer, but it's not quite fall. And I'm doing my typical season changeover blah, is a good way to say it. As I start feeling chilly, as the temperature starts to drop, I start just feeling tired, somewhat tired. A little bit run down. I get a little congested, have a little bit of postnasal drip. So it's weird. It hits me every year, and I don't normally have, I haven't had a whole lot of problems with allergies this year, so it's not an allergy thing. I think it's just a changing of the seasons.
It's the seasons.
Yep. So I know that there's some sickness going around. Luckily, we haven't had it. I've been boosting my system when I can remember. I keep forgetting to do it with some elderberry tincture. And I also have some echinacea. I dosed Batty up with that for 2 days because she was starting to get sick. Sick. I mean, she could hardly talk. She was getting so sick. So she drank a bunch of tea, and we gave her echinacea and elderberry. We alternated between the two. And within a day and a half, she had knocked it out.
Yeah, she was good.
The stuff is great, but you have to catch it at the beginning.
Yeah, early.
It's as soon as you start feeling icky, you need to start taking it. Yeah. Because once you get sick, it can help, sort of, but it because they both just boost your immune system. They don't.
And with Maddie being a singer, not being able to talk was really hard for her. Yep. It really messed up her voice for a couple of days. And then yesterday we had some pretty disturbing times.
It was definitely one that just tries your patience. I wouldn't even say tries your patience. Just grates on your nerves. There
was an unknown person at the elementary school.
A suspicious person.
Yeah, a suspicious person. He had showed up on school property with a gun in a holster. And so they put the elementary school on lockdown. Emma's middle school is right next to the elementary school, so they went on lockdown.
They kind of share a campus.
Yeah.
They're really, I wouldn't say next door, because usually next door implies that there's some kind of divider. But these two campuses, they're old campuses.
Right.
So they actually share certain pieces together. So it's not just like it's just one school. It's like they have the elementary school, then they have the middle school, and then you kind of have common ground in between.
Yeah. So they locked down both of those, and then as a precaution, they locked down the high school and the primary school, which those are like a mile away.
Yeah, those were both on a modified lockdown, so
right.
they just had to stay in their classrooms. Emma and her class were hiding in a storage closet for 3.5 hours. So
yeah,
I can't imagine that being a comfortable thing to be going through. She had actually taken her iPod to school, which she was not supposed to do. she didn't get in trouble because it worked out good.
Yeah.
But she logged on to the school Wi-Fi because she doesn't have Wi-Fi on her iPod, and she started texting me. She's like, "Mom, I'm really scared," and I was like, "I understand. I would be scared too." And I said, you need to pray. And she said, "Well, the teacher prayed," and I said, "Well, you need to. That's great." I said, "But you need to pray too, and just keep praying." I said, everything's going to be okay, And she was like, "Oh, okay," And she goes, and like 20 minutes later, she's like, "I'm hungry. They won't let us eat." I'm like, I can't do anything about that. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the only word we got was the school sent out text messages.
No, they
or they call.
They called.
Oh, they
it
called.
It was an
automated phone call.
And it's one of those where I got the phone call from Emma's school first because her school, of course, went on lockdown. And, of course, they were on lockdown for almost an hour before they decided to call the parents. Not good. And our last name starts with F, so we're at the beginning of the list.
Yeah, we're towards the front.
So it's not like we're at the end. And they do call in alphabetical order. I know this because our neighbor, her daughter, goes to the school as well, and their last name starts with a C, and she got the call before I did.
Yeah. So they were on lockdown for like 3 hours.
So I'm like, oh, it's the school. Emma's probably forgot something or she's not feeling well, so I picked up the phone, not expecting anything, and they're like, "This is a call from the Onslow County Public School System," and I was like, oh, this is not good.
Yeah, middle of the day.
And then the vice principal, you could tell that she was just on edge because her voice was shaking as she was, and you could just hear the fear in her voice. So I was like, and then they're telling, parents not to come. I actually listened. I was one of the good parents, and I stayed home and did not rush to the school where I didn't need to be. Of course, many people rushed to the school, and a lot of parents took their kids out of school once the lockdown was over, but they had to stand there for 3 hours.
Yeah, by then the school day's almost over.
Yeah, and I watched the news, and the police did an excellent job. They went through the schools, all 4 schools, completely.
And then they went through with
dogs.
And then
they went through again with dogs to make sure.
Yeah.
The best that we could figure, they never found the guy. The best we could figure is that he probably just forgot he had his gun on him. And so it was very innocent. But a teacher did see him with the gun, and she did report it, which is the right thing to do. The teacher, we don't know if she said anything. I personally would have probably, if it was in a holster on his hip, he is not necessarily intending to shoot. So she could have, casually talked and say, "Hey, can I help you?" Any kind of stuff like this. She could have asked him.
Just to let you know, guns are not allowed on school property. Yeah, I mean, anybody who is intent on shooting and killing in a school is not going to have their gun in a holster. They're going to come out just with the guns blazing, basically. Yeah. So, but it was still, it's a good learning lesson. It was one of the things that you never, ever want to happen. But if it does happen, you want it to end the way that it did. Yeah. So, it nerve-wracking was definitely the case. Yeah. And then coming up this week, which you'll get the results next podcast, Madison and Sarah and I are all trying out for Music of the Season, which is going to be a Christmas music performance at the Legacy Theater here in town. I'm excited. I think it'll be fun. We have to do, for our audition, we have to prepare one traditional Christmas song and one contemporary Christmas song. Okay. So we've spent the last few days trying to figure out songs, and I picked mine. Sarah picked out hers. I picked out mine. I actually picked mine out a couple weeks ago, and then I ended up changing my contemporary song. Yeah. I was going to sing "Do You Hear What I Hear?" or "Do You See What I See?" Do you know what I... that song. Yeah, whatever that one's called. It says all of them. Do you see what I see? I believe the technical name of the song is "Do You Hear What I Hear?" I was going to sing that, and then my contemporary song was going to be "Rockin' Around the Christmas Tree," but I was not happy with that choice, so I changed it. And yeah,
I went totally.
Wow.
I have like this beautiful classic song, very serene, very calming, and then I went to the other extreme over here, and I picked something totally goofy, totally funny.
That'll get her into the
It probably will, because I haven't been on stage for any kind of singing or any kind of anything since I graduated high school, and we're closing in on 18. I'm closing in on 20 years since I graduated high school. So it's not something that is comfortable for me to think about getting on stage. And she wants me to have stage presence. So I picked. I want a hippopotamus for Christmas.
If y'all don't know what that is, look it up on YouTube.
Go to YouTube and check it out.
I want
you
a
will
hippopotamus
die.
for Christmas.
However, I warn you, I am not at fault if it gets stuck in your head. It's not my fault.
Whereas I'm doing, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. And I don't know if I want to do Johnny Mathis version or Bing Crosby version. I can do either. And my contemporary is going to be While You Were Sleeping by Casting Crowns. So,
I think Madison is doing Old Holy Night, and I don't know. Do you know which other one she's doing?
I don't know what other one she's got. That'll be a surprise.
So it'll be interesting to see.
But we should know Friday if we got in.
So we can.
I'm pretty much sure I'm getting in.
He's pretty much guaranteed. Maddie's
because
guaranteed.
There's never enough men.
Yeah.
So
Maddie has probably got an excellent shot because she performed with them earlier, and it seems like it's the same group of people who always try out. And even though there's 6 spots for kids, which 15. There were last time, there were 15 trying out, which is what tried out last time. So I don't foresee her not making it. I see her getting it. No,
she'll get in.
So that was good. I'm the questionable one. I don't think I'll get in. Everybody keeps telling me that I will. But we'll see. I just have to... Hopefully I won't get up there and totally choke.
Nah, you'll be all right.
But it was good. We got, like we said last week, we got the paperwork from the VA, and it has been submitted to the school. We follow up with the school to see the status on Monday. Hopefully they're able to go and just get it done through the lower levels.
Yeah.
And they don't have to escalate it, so we'll see. Let's see what else is going on this week. I made yogurt yesterday. Yeah. That was really, really cool. I've attempted 2 or 3 times in the past few years to make yogurt, and it is, I don't know if it's been the recipe or what, it failed. Well, the last time I made it, it didn't fail, but the recipe tasted absolutely horrible, and I followed it exactly. But it was just nasty. I did not like it at all. It was slimy and icky, and I was like, okay, this is not cool. I've been making kefir for about a year now. I've got to decide if I want to continue making kefir or if I want to let it go. I only drink kefir like 3 times a week, so it tends to pile up because I have to make. I usually make 2 cups at a time, and I need to actually just go down to 1 cup at a time. But that's only 3 cups a week if I go down that I use.
You're making 7.
And I'm making 7 because it has to be made every day. And it's so easy to make. I enjoy it. But so I finally asked a friend for her recipe for her yogurt because I really wanted to make yogurt because Greek yogurt is really expensive. And I use a lot of the 0% Greek yogurt on THM because I use it as sour cream. I can use it as mayonnaise. If I want to make a tuna fish, that's an E, I use it in that. However, that's changed. I won't be able to do that anymore, but I'll explain that in a little bit.
Yeah.
I use it as desserts. I use it for breakfast. I put it in shakes sometimes. So it
gets used a lot around here.
It is.
We're keeping yogurt companies in business.
Yeah. And I know I'm saying ums a lot today. We're trying to get through this quickly because
It's late today.
It's late, and we have our VKN tonight, and I have cookies to bake for the church tomorrow for our dinner. It's just, there's a lot going on.
I taught youth group last Sunday.
Yeah.
That turned out really well.
I was talking about your group still.
I thought you were done. You went on to cookies. You were talking cookies. But I taught youth group last Sunday. It worked out really well because Sarah and the other leader's wife, before I got up there, because we were helping down in the kitchen.
I wasn't up there. I was helping.
Oh, that's right.
Only Miss Sahar was up there.
That's right. And so she was up there talking to the kids about, fear and not being afraid of life, things happening. Well, I didn't know what she was going to talk about, so I get up there and start teaching on my lesson, which is about fear.
Worked out great.
Worked out great. And then we moved on to science and all kinds of stuff like that. Had one of the teens come up to me afterwards and thank me for a really good lesson. And the other leader's wife, Sahar, she said she could listen to me teach every week. Yeah. I don't want to do that. That's her husband's job.
Yeah.
So, but I enjoy it. I enjoy teaching.
Well, this week has been my first full week of being grain-free. Again, I had cut out the grains shortly after a couple months after I started THM. My blood sugars weren't responding well to them. So I cut them out. And then when my blood sugars stabilized, I added them back in. And I've been having them again for like 6 months. And I was starting to feel really icky again. My blood sugars my fasting sugar kept creeping up and creeping up and creeping up to the point where I was just like, okay, this is not good. If not to anything dangerous or anything, I was not at diabetes level, but it was just a progression of continuing to go upward. And I was like, okay, what am I doing? What do I need to change? So I really just spent some time researching and looking, and I was tired all the time, and I was having tummy troubles a lot. And I just realized, what was I doing when my blood sugar was absolutely the best it's ever been? And I actually had to come off of medicine at that point because the medicine was dropping my sugars too low. That was when I was walking 6 days a week, and I ate no grains and no fruit, except for berries. So that's also, ironically enough, when I felt the best. So I was like, okay, there's a connection here. I obviously have, I'm not going to say they're allergies, because they aren't allergies.
No, it's more of
an
intolerance.
They actually, I was having allergy symptoms to one of them. I don't know what it was. I'm thinking it's wheat. But I was really itchy, and my skin was just really, really dry. So I was having an allergic type reaction, not life-threatening, but definitely an allergic reaction. But the rest of the stuff I consider pretty much as an intolerance. So I'm having to go back, and I'm having to look and realize, that THM for ease is really limited when you can't have grains. And your grains are, which it's never on there, but corn, except for popcorn, is on THM. So I don't do corn. I don't do any wheat. I don't do any of the flours, because those are all grains.
Rice.
Brown rice is a grain. And quinoa I can have, but I have to keep it limited, because even though quinoa is a seed, it's a pseudograin. So it reacts very similarly to a grain in your body. So I keep that to the point where I don't eat it more than a few times a month. So that leaves me carrots, which I had forgotten about. I totally forgot that carrots, I could eat more carrots. So I can make something like some tuna and, have a salad, and then I can have carrots on the side, or carrots as a snack. That leaves me sweet potatoes, which I bought some of those, which was nice, until I forgot that we got rid of the microwave 3 weeks ago, and I was going to make a baked potato for lunch today and realized that I was hungry and that it was going to take me an hour. So
yeah,
I need to actually plan for my baked potato ahead of time.
Yeah.
And then that leaves me with beans. So limited choices, but I've done some research and I found some new recipes, going to try some new things in the next few weeks. And just kind of getting it figured out. So I was to the point where I was eating ease every single day, and sometimes I'd have 2, but I was filling up on grains. I was filling, like oats and stuff like that, and I would have fruit. So this week it's been a little tough trying to adjust to not having my favorite foods. I hope to add fruit back in occasionally in moderation. I am just keeping it eliminated for the next 6 weeks to give my body time to just totally calm down and just rest. And I've gotten back to exercising where I'm going to have to exercise 7 days a week and do at least 2 miles, but I'm going to try for 4. Today I did 2 because it was busy. But I might try to do another 2 this afternoon. We'll see. And it has helped because I've done no grains or fruit since Monday. And I added exercise back on Wednesday, and my fasting blood sugar has already dropped 15 points in like 3 or 4 days, which is a huge, significant drop. So that tells me I am on the right track, and that was exactly what needed to be done. Yeah. So I now just have to keep up on it and just learn that, okay, even though I may not have a reaction right away, it's really not worth eating these foods just for the sake of eating them because they're easy. So I have to do things a little bit harder, which is not a problem. I'll get the hang of it. I gotta modify. I gotta come up with new recipes. I gotta put my thinking cap on. Crossovers will be wonderful. One of those? A thinking cap? Yeah. I could.
Okay. Maybe that'll be my next work in progress. A thinking cap.
All right. Well, I think that's pretty much all we have, though, for our Around the Apple Orchard.
Yeah, I think so.
VKNs. Our VKN is tonight. Yeah. I'm sure that you guys won't see this until after that one's over, but the information for all of our VKNs are in the group, and our next scheduled VKN is on
October 4th.
October 4th. This one is going to be a morning one. It's going to be from 8 to 10.
11.
8 to 11.
8 to 11 in the morning.
All right.
Eastern time.
Eastern time. All of ours are on Eastern time.
For those of you in the UK, that's 1 o'clock.
Yep, and currently we have our evening VKNs from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time, we're actually considering after this one of changing it because of the dogs. Because the dogs we want to put up through the whole time so that they're quieter. It just depends on how my neighbors are. If there's a lot of pounding music or slamming car doors, it sets all the dogs off.
Yeah.
But we're thinking of changing those to 6 to 9 Eastern to be a little bit easier for us. So we'll see. We'll know for sure after we do this one. Yeah. I think the only other news that should go into in and around the Apple Orchard is we are officially getting another puppy.
Yeah, we are.
We had an opportunity about a month ago, because he's about a month old now, to get a puppy, and we were going to, and then September was just a really tight month for us with school fees and everything, and I was just like, okay, and I just wasn't ready. So Marcy contacted me this week, and she says,
she's our grader.
Yeah, she sent us a picture of the little guy and said, I wanted to see if there's any way that you're still interested. Because he is Harvey's brother, and he looks like Harvey, although he's a different color. Harvey was a gold with black mask, which means that he had a black nose. Doc, which is what we're going to name him, which is an Apple name, and I'll explain that more in a minute. Doc is a solid liver, cream liver, so he's got a brown nose. Let me see if I can find a better little picture. Hide his little boy parts. Oh, try not to get the glare. There's Doc. So he will come home in another month, the end of October. About a month from today, actually.
Yep, month from tomorrow.
Month 21st. From tomorrow. Oh, here's a better one of his face. And his name is Doc for a reason. I named all of my dogs, except for one, after apples. Harvey was named Harvey after the golden apple. Doc gets his name after the Dr. Harvey apple. So basically it was a nice way to honor Harvey and basically name him Harvey, because he kind of sort of is, in a lot of ways, Harvey.
But we didn't
want to name him Harvey. So his name is Doc. I haven't met him yet. I just got the pictures. So I'm excited and I'm nervous. It hasn't quite sunk in yet.
Yeah.
But I do enjoy that. So I'm sure I will have more pictures in the next few weeks, especially as we get ready for him to come home. I hope to go and visit him around the 1st of the month. I don't know if that's going to work. I have the wedding cake is coming up in a couple weeks, and I need to start working on that, and that's going to take quite a bit of time.
When is that one? When do you need to do the cake for? What day?
That's the 18th, which is a Saturday, which we may, depending on, we probably will not record that Saturday.
Yeah, probably not.
Because I've got to deliver the wedding cake. We're going to the wedding, so we might not record that day.
No.
We might have to try and record, maybe, possibly. We might be able to squeeze in a short podcast that Sunday in between church and
that Friday.
I'm going to be too busy with the cake on Friday.
Yeah, you will be.
That's just not going to happen. All right.
Good point.
Let's go ahead and jump into Apple Pickin' Party. We are still working on our outlandish knit-along for the Claire Shaw, the Among the Heather.
They are.
They are. I'm not.
You're not. They are.
I'm a fail. But I wanted to also mention that starting in October, we are having a knit-along for Martina Bem's patterns. So any Martina Bem pattern that you want to knit, you can knit and join us. That will run from October through the end of December, and our prizes for that will be
wide and varied.
No, we have a couple. We're going to do the Shaw pin and a project bag for sure. So it depends. The more people that join, the more prizes we'll pull out.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, if there's anything that you wish to donate, please feel free to donate to us. We really appreciate it. It helps keep our costs down, as we don't like to. We try to keep, it enjoyable, but we try to stick on a budget as well.
Yeah.
And we have been contacted by a lovely lady who wishes to remain anonymous, and I appreciate that very much. She will be sending a prize, and I cannot wait till it gets here. We will be using it for our January knit-along with Denise of the Knitting Den. We'll be knitting the Lawrence. So that one is coming up. And if you wish to see a full list of our upcoming knit-alongs or crochet-alongs or however you want to do, some of them will be able to be for both. The list is on our Ravelry group, so you can get more information there. We also have 2 year-long knit-alongs that are going to be just for fun.
Because we couldn't decide on one.
We couldn't decide on one, and we decided to make those prize-free. However, we will be sharing our favorites throughout the year. Once we get permission from you guys to share those, we're not just going to share those without your permission. And you can start on those now. You just can't finish them until 2015. So you can do blankets. You can be starting on those now, especially since I know Afghans take a long time. But you can chatter in the thread. There's 2 threads. There's the year-long blanket knit-along and the year-long sweater knit-along. And you can talk about what you're planning to do. You can share your yarn. You can share your progress. We can just chatter it up and talk in there and see what we're planning. And feel free to do more than one. It'll just be, I think, a good, fun thing. All right. Yeah. Apple of my eye. I'll let you do this section.
Oh, that's right. We did get some.
Mm-hmm.
This week, it was funny because Sarah didn't realize that she had gotten a message on Ravelry. And I had seen it on mine first. We had both received the #1 sock pattern by Desi Loop by SSK.
I have started on mine, so you actually have to see. Yeah, it's over here.
Oh.
I don't want to show it right now because I've only gotten the toe done.
Oh. Yeah, it's a toe-up sock.
It's a really nice, it's a mostly plain vanilla sock, which is cool, but she uses a different toe and a different heel. I think I can say this without giving away the actual pattern, is that she uses a moccasin toe and a sweet tomato heel. So it was really, really cool. I didn't want to actually show the pattern because it is pretty much a plain vanilla sock, so I didn't want to give that information away. But it was good.
So thank you very much for the pattern. We do appreciate it. I now have more patterns than I know what to do with. So I have to start working through my library.
Yep.
Which isn't huge, comparatively speaking, but it's big for me. You got a message?
Yeah. Sorry. I normally don't like to text in the middle of my podcast, but I wanted to respond to let my friend know that I'm busy. All right. So are we jumping into finished up or...
Whichever way you want to go.
What do we have next?
We can do apple basket or blooming.
Let's do it in the apple basket because I think that's our order.
Well, seeing as how I have nothing, go for it.
I have a couple. I have several.
I have
things,
nothing
actually.
in the basket today. You have several.
Yeah. Well, sorta. I should have probably done another section for that one, but that's okay. This week, I have worked on getting projects done, or attempting to get projects done. I did get a couple done. I've been focusing on socks, and I was able to get quite a bit of progress done. I have finished my...
Socks formerly known as mats.
Yes, socks formerly known as mat. I had stolen them back. These are... I'm totally blanking right now on what the yarn...
Patton's Croy.
Patton's Croy.
You missed that last week, too.
And I know it. But I have finished them. I did these toe up. These are my September socks. And I did them 2 at a time. And I did a true afterthought heel, which I have come to realize that I really like the true afterthought heel. I know that it's shaped like a toe, and it's not always comfortable for most people. But I actually learned between working on this project and working on my next one, which I finished my opal socks, and these I did cuff down, and I did a true afterthought heel too, but I did a crystal heel. You can Google search for the crystal heel, and there's a pattern, I think it's called Crystal Socks, on knitting that uses this heel. And this is a much deeper afterthought heel, and it decreases in 4 places as well, but it's actually similar to how you decrease for a hat. And it is supposed to be more comfortable on a lot of people's feet. I liked knitting it. I kind of like the way that it looks. I did not at all like the way that it fits my feet.
You have very shallow heel.
I do, and I think that's why this is not so comfortable.
Because she put this one on,
and the heel's
and
all
the heel's
loose.
all bulging out behind her.
And I'll still wear these. I'll wear them around the house. I don't care. But I realized that I really, really love the traditional afterthought heel because I have a very short heel anyway. It's not very deep at all.
Wow, how is it? I've been knitting all day long and I've gone a half an inch.
You're in black hole knitting, as I call it. So those are the only 2 projects that I have finished knit-wise, which is pretty good because I took my marker off, but I was like roughly here on my rainbow socks. And of course now they're done. And I was mostly done with these last week. So I got quite a bit of progress done. And I only managed to cast on 2 new projects this week.
Only?
Yeah, which I think next week is going to have to be another week of socks. Because I'm back up to 4 pairs on the needle. And hopefully I can...
I can't do more than 1 pair on them.
But I need to get it done because I need to work on my sweater because it is cooling off. And I'm just going to have to pick something and focus on one thing.
I need to finish up my scarf.
Yeah.
Which I just need to blaze through. And I have to put socks on hold. And
excuse me while I get
use them for when I go places.
I need to put on socks, so hang on. It's warm enough that the air conditioning has to come on sometimes. We've got the house set at 77, but we've also got a ceiling fan right here, and it's just cool enough with the ceiling fan on that I feel chilly. However, if I were to turn that ceiling fan off, it would feel hot.
We would be roasting right now.
So that's one of the things where it's in that weird transition time, so I feel funny. Although I am enjoying sitting on the couch because I can get comfy and I'm sitting cross-legged now.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I finished this week, I finished lots of. I won't show everything.
And it's something we've just started.
Yeah.
It's a new thing for us, but
and
why not?
It's coming up in progress. So this is all that I finished. They're buttons. I will show them to you more what we got. We are planning to reopen our Etsy shop. We haven't narrowed down a date. I would like to say that it would be January, but it may actually be sooner. It just really depends on how much time we have to get the buttons done. We started with simple ones, and my local yarn shop is already going to start carrying them, so I'm so excited about that because that will be really, really nice.
And we went up there today, and she's like, "Yeah, price them." And
yeah, she would have actually bought some right then and there, but I didn't have them priced because I haven't figured that out yet. I still have a few more to do on my trial run, and then I will count everything up and see roughly how many buttons I got in varying sizes and figure out basically what my cost should be as far as materials, how long it took me to bake them and seal them and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really, really excited about this. So like I said, we're going to do the buttons. Matt's going to do shawl pins. He might do hand turn pins. Those will definitely be coming later in the year or at the first of the year. We need to get things squared away with the VA first so that we have the time to put in some supplies. These were really easy for us to start with.
And the cool thing is the pens will be a combination. There'll be some that are wood and some that are acrylic.
Mm-hmm.
I'll potentially take
and we started with,
orders
like I said,
for acrylic.
Simple buttons. Ooh, that one should go.
You know what? You know what, too? I've seen on one of the pen turning groups I'm on Facebook, they use this clay.
Interesting.
To make the blanks instead of wood
I think that was the prettiest one in this group.
Acrylic. One guy used polymer clay that his wife used.
Piece of paper?
No.
I don't know if this is going to show up or not. Well, anyway, we started with some simple little buttons.
Here you go. Use this back.
Actually, if you just rip that out.
That'll work.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Non-prepared people.
So we started simple and with just basic tools, and we're going to increase up. And these aren't really showing up all that well. But I need to get some pictures. But there's one button.
We'll put some pictures in the credits.
No, probably not. I might put pictures of them when they were baking. They're on Instagram. So those are some of the ones that I've done. I'll just pull out real quick some of the others that I've done. This is my variegated bag. I totally mixed up my piles.
Well, we're trying different techniques. We're marbling and we're spiraling and
I've learned
just trying
some
different things with color combinations and.
Hopefully I will get time to make dotted buttons later.
Textured buttons.
This one is. I love this one. And we're doing different colors and stuff. We're going to get very fancy and do some really fancy ones too eventually. There's one. That one's showing up pretty good. So I'm really happy with that. So if you see any of these that you absolutely love or feel free to go ahead and let us know and we can work something out.
If you have a sweater that you want buttons for that
we will eventually be able to
trouble finding colors or whatever, let us know sizes and what color combinations.
There's a reddish one.
And we can work with you and figure out price. And
yeah, we still have to figure out what we're going to really do. I've seen some very fancy sculpted ones. I'm not so sure that I'm going to get into sculpting buttons, but we'll see. So there's a purple.
Kind of a metallic.
Yeah, it's got a pearl finish on it. It was a pearlized finish, and I finished them with some satin glaze. And these are so addictive. It's so much fun to make. Here's a trick. This one's my favorite. It's called Peacock Turquoise. So it's just awesome. We need to get some business cards to attach to these.
As if Sarah and I don't have enough hobbies.
So I might just start showing them in bags.
What do you know? We just throw more hobbies out.
Yeah.
Just more stuff.
Do I have? I want to wait. Those are the colors. I'm trying to pull out. We've got all different kinds of sizes and stuff.
I think the biggest ones are like 3/4.
I'll show a couple more of these because these ones turned out really, really cool. And they're all slightly different.
Yeah, you're not going to get... With the marbled ones, you won't get...
different techniques for them.
You won't get the same on 2 different buttons.
There's those. And then...
little tiny ones.
I had tiny ones and bigger ones and medium ones and flower-shaped ones. We're going to work in doing other shapes as well. I can show the flowered ones. Here's the flowered ones. These ones, I'm really, really happy with how they turned out.
Our next project is to get a pasta roller.
Mm-hmm. So that we can roll these a bit more even.
To a uniform thickness.
I'm doing pretty good.
But yeah, for not having a pasta roller, we're doing pretty good.
There's one flower.
Almost to the heel.
Flower. So they're going really, really good. I've learned some new techniques, and we're going to start making ones that actually have flowers in them.
Yeah.
And I've got some other techniques that I want to try.
We might move up to beads and...
I don't know. I really I don't have a desire to do beads. Hmm. I love the buttons because I use the buttons. The buttons are great for knitting. So.
And I'll use those to make buttons for my Ranger.
Yeah, he's got his colors picked out already.
Yep.
So those are the buttons, and like I said, I have a ton of them. And we need to work on getting cards to attach to these and some other things that I want to get before we officially launch the shop. However, if you saw something that you were really interested in and you just have to have it now, send me a message and we can work something out.
Yeah. So
that's all that I've got, and that's finished. Blooming apples.
Yay, blooming.
You want to go?
Yeah, why not? Still haven't touched. It's now been 3 weeks, I think, since I did anything with my Ranger. It's a Ranger by Jared Flood.
You need to get on it. The weather's cooling off.
I do. It's starting to get cooler. In the morning, it's actually chilly, comparatively speaking.
Yeah.
65 in the morning, but when you're used to it being 95 in the afternoon.
And like 70-something.
You know,
almost 80 degrees in the morning.
Yeah. You go to work and it's 75, 80 degrees. Yeah, 65 is chilly.
For now. It'll feel great in a few weeks.
So I've got to get my Ranger worked on. This week I didn't touch my Gilbert scarf for the Anne of Green Gables knit along with Daisy Creations.
Which you should check out her podcast. She's adorable.
She is. She is adorable. Go check her out. Last week, y'all watched me rip out and wind up my Miami socks.
Which are still mine.
Yeah. How's that work? She makes socks for me and keeps them for herself. I make socks for her and give them to her. But I ripped them out last week because, I used a US 4 needle. It's like knitting with chopsticks. So I ripped that out, started all over, and almost to the heel. These colors are showing up really good. Yeah. Different blues and greens and all of that. It's Wisdom Yarns by Universal in the Miami color.
Miami sock.
Miami sock.
Because they did a whole bunch of different colors.
They did San Diego and Miami. Cities and So I'm almost to the heel. I was measuring earlier on the 4.5. I need to get 5 because she doesn't like them really long.
I don't. I like them to be between 5 and 6. I like shorter socks, and my rainbow socks are actually much shorter than that, but I'm actually happy with them. So.
But that's all of my blooming apples. I've got to work on. I need to get my scarf done just so it's down another way.
I casted on 2 socks and worked on 1 other pair. I did not get to my To the Moon and Back socks this week. I got sidetracked by buttons yesterday.
Yes, you did.
So I started on my number 1 socks by SSK. Not that I have much done.
And how cool is that? Her initials actually are SSK. And she's a knitter.
Yep.
That's like perfect.
So there's the toe, and this is the moccasin toe. And the construction was very different. But I actually kind of like it so far. I won't be able to tell 100% if I like it until I finished the actual sock. But I am using, it's called Naked Sock, and it's a stretchy, it's got stretch to it. It's got, I don't want to say it's nylon. I don't have a tag with me. But it's got PBT. It's some man-made fiber, and it makes it really stretchy. And this pattern is actually written for a stretchy sock
yarn.
I can't say that today. A stretchy sock yarn. She wrote it, and she used Patton's Koi Stretch. So I recommend that if you do this pattern, to get a stretchy yarn, because that is how it is designed to have some negative ease. If you do not use a stretchy yarn, go ahead and go up in stitches, and you can easily figure that out. So I'm liking it so far. I did this one night after dinner. That's where I got to and stopped.
Yeah.
So that's that. And then I casted on another sock, and I hope to get these whipped out this week because this is actually for a knit along. This is for the knit along with sort of a knitter. He is having a back to school knit along. So I decided to cast on and do another pair of Mystic Spiral socks. And again, I got just the toe. But this is one of those that I can whip out this pair of socks pretty quickly because it goes really fast. And this is...
Mocha.
Yes, I know the colorway. I mentioned it a few weeks ago because I was doing my waves and then I didn't like it. I liked the pattern and I liked the yarn, I just didn't like the two together. It's one that I haven't tried before. It's really bad. I guess I need some...
You got it on your Ravelry page?
No, I do not. It's not on my Ravelry page.
Because I could find it.
I can't remember who this is by at this moment, so you'll have to forgive me. My brain has just forgotten. But the color is mocha. So, I love it. I love it so far. And we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I'll end up making this pair for him. No promises.
Yeah.
The other one that I worked on is I finished one sparkly sock. So this is my Dickie Doo from where I was last week. So I finished it. And I have cast it on and started down the leg. This is probably what I'll work on in the VKN tonight. So it's going really well. I will get this sock finished up this week because I want to send these to my friend so that she can have them before it gets too chilly. And so those will go out in the next week or so as I get them done. That's all I've got. I got a lot of progress done. But I didn't have a lot of progress on a lot of things. So
yeah,
it'll work.
I lost mojo this week.
It happens.
I'd sit down, I'd knit a couple rows, and that was about it.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like doing it. Plus, I was so tired. I've just been tired with this change of seasons.
I've been less tired this week, but I'm still tired. And I think it's just the changing of seasons.
Yeah.
It's getting darker earlier, which makes me actually want to go to bed early, which is not a bad thing.
No, but when you get done with dinner and you're sitting there watching TV for a little bit and...
It's like 11 o'clock, you look at the clock, it's 9 o'clock. Oh, no, it's only...
Yeah, it's only 9 o'clock. I go to bed now, I'll be up at 4. So, yeah, I shaved off my beard and goatee yesterday. Somebody didn't notice for 3.5 hours and asked when I said, you didn't notice, she goes, didn't notice what? What do you mean? What'd you do? Did you fold laundry? No, I didn't fold laundry.
Yeah.
No clue what I did for 3.5 hours. Gives me a baby face.
Didn't notice.
She didn't.
But in my defense, I think I could dye my hair and he wouldn't notice.
I would. Because I notice things like that.
Mm-hmm. I don't.
We have the county fair coming up.
Yeah.
I think next year we're going to enter the county fair for the knitted items category. We're going this year to see what kind of things people enter.
Because we've lived here 10 years, I have never
been
to the
county
fair.
fair. And it's only, not even 10 miles away from the house.
Well, I'm spoiled because San Diego County has a very large fair in Del Mar.
Oh, it's huge.
And
San Diego County Fair is huge.
We used to go every year for the longest time. As I got older, we didn't go as much, but I just remembered
I was stationed in San Diego
that was
for
our
9
yearly
years
thing.
And never went to the San Diego County Fair.
Nope.
Never.
I loved it. I loved it.
Never
loved it. So I kind of compare that. And then his hometown, they have a big fair too, which is also great.
Yeah.
It's called the Three Rivers Festival. And that one I really enjoyed when we went the one time.
That one was 8 days long.
Yeah, that one was pretty cool.
It was everywhere throughout the city.
So I'm used to these big things, and we live in a relatively small county, so I don't know. I want to go to the state fair sometime too, but it's right before staff, and I have to decide which one I want to do. And neither one of those is happening this year.
No.
Unless, a rich uncle that we don't know about,
passes away and sends us money.
A very large inheritance. So, yeah. Well, I guess we should go ahead and wrap it up so that I can start editing this and we can get it saved and uploaded and we can carry on with everything else that we need to get done.
Yeah, because we have to try and get everything done so that we can VKM tonight. Mm-hmm. And that's in, 6 hours.
Yeah. And I have, maybe 8 dozen cookies to bake? What the tub makes 76 each, and I have to do, so that's 152?
Yeah.
152 cookies to make.
And you've made 12.
Mm-hmm.
So, 140 to go.
Mm-hmm.
By tomorrow.
But it was make them today at the house, or get to the church real early to cook tomorrow. I didn't want to do that. So.
Yeah, because we won't get out of church until 12.
They're actually having a potluck dinner after church, and by the time that's over, it would be like 1 o'clock.
1:30.
1:30,
yeah.
And then we need to be back at the church to start cooking dinner at 3. So we would have had no time to come home and let the dogs out. So we aren't actually going to the potluck tomorrow, so that we can come home and let the dogs out, so that they're not totally crazy. Because we will be at the church from 3 to about 8 o'clock.
Yeah. By the time everything's all said and done, it'll be 8 o'clock before we leave.
And we may actually be able to go a little bit later and meet up at 3:30 because I will have the cookies done.
Yeah. We're cooking hamburgers and french fries for the Awana.
Green beans or corn or
peas.
Peas.
Don't like peas.
I can't eat any of it. Well, I could eat the peas, but it's the only thing I could eat.
You could eat the hamburger.
Yeah, I'll just make my own dinner. Well, we wrap this up because we could chatter on forever if we really allowed it.
We're already at 55 minutes. So
yeah, and that's before editing. So
yeah, still be a couple minutes shorter than last week.
Alrighty. Well, I think that's pretty much all that we've got for this week.
Come on over to the group. Join the group. Subscribe on YouTube. Mm-hmm. If you got questions for us, feel free to ask. There's a question thread. Introduce yourself in the introduction thread. We like meeting all our friends.
Yes. And if you introduce yourself in the introduction thread, we will give you a shout out on the podcast.
Yes, we will. Speaking of shout outs, I want to give one to my buddy Dan. Praying for you, buddy. Representing the Bakery Bears today. So, get well.
Alrighty. I think that's all that we can really have to say.
Yeah.
So we will see you next week.
Have a good week, y'all.
Bye for now.